It's a great question. It's probably the most popular question I get on a day-to-day basis. So let's talk about the modular home. Number one, it is built to your NC residential building code, while your mobile or manufactured home is built to a completely different code. It's actually built to your HUD code. So your modular home is over here and it's built to your NC residential code, so they're built to two different codes, number one. Now, one cool thing about the manufactured or mobile side is it is built indoors in an assembly line environment. So you save time and cost, and people love the idea that it's built indoors. So over here, back to the modular, although it is built to your NC residential building code, just like a $2 million stick-built house would be or any other stick-built house, it is also built indoors like that mobile or manufactured home. So I'm getting that assembly line production rate. I'm getting the fact that it's never been beat on by the sun or snowed on or rained on. So those differences are some of the key points there. And I guess going back to the foundation of the house, everything we build, the all-frame modular is sitting on a true masonry foundation. It is never sitting on a mobile foundation with chassis or frames under the house. So when you crawl up under the house, it's very traditional as far as visually and the way it's constructed. So all that kind of ties into the fact that the all-frame modular, what you're seeing behind me, is going to appraise with stick-built homes. You're not going to have appraisal issues. You're going to gain in value as time goes on, like a traditional stick-built home. So those are just some of the ways they are different than a mobile manufactured and different from a stick-built home, but have those similarities as a stick-built home as well. I feel like people really underestimate how customizable these homes really are. Okay, so take the interior floor plan. Not only are these walls movable, but your porches, your decks on the front and the rear of the home, all of that stuff is designed by you, the buyer. So not only are we controlling the exterior elevation with your porches and garages and all that stuff that goes along with the front elevation, we have complete control of the interior of these homes. From material of the finishes to where actual walls and windows and stuff like that are. So I think a lot of people just really underestimate how truly customizable they are. On the flip side of that, I would say if you're trying to be as economical as possible, I would say the closer you can stay with an original floor plan that we already offer, I would say you're probably going to get a little bit more out of your money. But at the end of the day, we can go completely custom and take it as far and as high as you want to. The motto we live by is the only limitations with us is imagination and budget. So take this room for an example. A lot of these plans consist of what I call flex space. So we are showing and using this room as a secondary den. In this particular plan, it could have been a fifth bedroom or a formal dining room. So not only are you able to use space in different ways, but you can also move walls, place windows, place exterior doors. I mean, you can really go as far as you want to with the customizations. I'm just talking about floor plan changes. I haven't even hit on material customization as far as what materials we're using. So, I mean, every aspect of this build, from countertops to flooring, all that stuff, there's really no limitations to it, except for, like I said, the budget and imagination. But I mean, at the end of the day, if there's something you really want to see in your build, there's really nothing stopping us from getting that dream accomplished. That is a really good question, and it's a really touchy question too, because the more a lot has to offer, generally the price is going to be higher for that vacant lot. But in an ideal world, let's just take budget out of the equation. any land that has any form of a perk history is a great sign. Even if that perk has that improvement permit has expired, they usually expire after 5 years. But even if it has expired, that tells me and you that that land has perked in the past. Generally speaking, if nothing crazy's happened, it's going to perk again. Being cleared would be an awesome thing to look for. Already cleared lot. Then you get into water and sewer. Obviously, worst case scenario, we need a brand new well and a brand new septic tank. Obviously, you have city utilities with some lots, which is great. All we've got to worry about there is tapping into that and then running the lines to the house, so the cost is pretty low compared to well and septic. You also have scenarios where you have maybe county water, or it's a tear down and I now have existing water and sewer already in the ground. So all those things, I mean, it's a really good question, and it is just case by case. I guess there's no stone cold, hey, your land needs to have this, this, and this for us to be able to work with you. We can kind of take it from ground zero with permitting and all that stuff, clearing, cutting in a driveway. Carolina Custom Homes does provide all of those services. Obviously they cost, so if those things are already done, hallelujah. But if they're not, generally they're not, we'll figure out that and tackle those obstacles and get them done. So let's talk about the actual house aspect of the build. Really, your first thing to do as the buyer is figure out what you want and how you want it, because I can only ballpark price until I know exactly what you want, how you want it specifically with finishes and all that stuff. So I will be able to walk you through every aspect of the home and say, hey, this is included at no cost. This is what your upgraded options are, and they cost this. Do you want to include those, yes or no? So as far as the house goes, we need to figure out what we want, how we want it, so we can actually really price it out. And then on the land side of things, there is no bulletproof answer. Hey, you need to have a perk test done. You need to have your well and septic permits in hand. Although that would be ideal for timing reasons. There's a lot of times where somebody comes to me and they don't even have an improvement permit, the lot's wooded. All I need you to know is from the buyer's perspective is Carolina Custom Homes assists you in all those things, clearing driveways, wells, septics, even getting the permits. We help you pull those permits. But at the end of the day, if you come to me and those things are already done, you're only saving time. So there is, like I said, there is no stone cold answer there. You have to be at a certain point, but the further along you are, the better. And then on the house side of things, we just really need to sit down. I'll be able to provide to you rough base prices on multiple different models, so you can rule a few out, rule a few in type thing, get it down to 4 or 5 different plans, and then we'll kind of sit down and tackle those, go through those on what's standard, what's included, what are you including, porches, decks, all that kind of stuff, and then we go from there. You got a 2-part process there. We have a kind of a dead period when we order a home, where we're basically waiting on that, the modules themselves to be produced, and we're pulling permits and building up the foundation and doing all that kind of stuff. And then on the second hand of that build process, you have us, okay, the house is sitting on the foundation now, we're wrapping it up, we're actually building a house, finishing a house. But basically, from the day we place an order to the day you're moving in, we prepare you for 6 to 8 months, 6 or 7 months, give or take. And like I said, that could be split kind of 50-50 of, 50% of that 7 months, there's really not a whole lot going on. We're waiting, we're pulling permits, we're getting the footing and the foundation ready. Well, the second half of that 6 or 7 months is going to be action-packed. There's going to be a house sitting there, decks are being built, porches are being built, wells are being dug, all that kind of stuff. So 6 to 8 months from the day you place an order to move in. I will say weather can have a big factor in that. Where you're building can have a huge factor in that, based on how difficult is your county to work with. Some are a nightmare, and it can make a build longer. Some people ask me, does a smaller house, or does it matter how big the house is for our time frame? Not really, because you got to think about it. Where the actual manufacturer of these modules, there's a line, and we're just getting your name in that line. It has nothing to do with how big or small that house is. The sooner we can get that house ordered in line, the sooner they're going to be able to ship it to me, your builder, and the sooner I'm going to be able to put it all together on site. So 6 to 8 months though. The basements are always an option, but let's talk about a traditional foundation for now, and I'll get to the basement at the end. So typically, all of our homes are going to come included with a vapor barrier, vented masonry crawl space, okay? So you got a crawl space with vents, a vapor barrier down over the ground is very traditional, probably what you grew up around and what you're used to seeing under a house. You can also, with that same crawl space foundation, you can always look into the sealed and encapsulated option, where there is no vents. It is a truly conditioned and sealed off space under your house, okay? So it is a controlled environment. Mold literally cannot grow under there. It's, like I said, controlled, like it's 70 degrees under there year round, so it produces a more energy efficient home. And then with the basement aspect of it, a basement can cooperate with any of our floor plans. We do have a few rules with basements. They're always going to be full basements, number one. We don't do any partials or anything like that. We typically do walkout basements, a nice set of doors down there, windows, what have you. We do use superior wall basement. So when we build a basement, it is going to be superior wall basement. It's a precast, it's a modular format of basement walls, if you can look into that. Superior wall basements, that's who we use for our basement walls, and that is always an option as well. But just remember, standard would be a vented crawl space with a vapor barrier. So if you ask me what is the base price of something, that's where my mind goes, and then we can always look into sealed and encapsulated options as well as basement options. Our homes are sitting on a permanent masonry foundation. The fact that they are built to your NC residential code, not to that HUD code like mobile and manufactured homes. Those two things together really open you up in the lending world. You're not going to be cornered into these weird specific types of loans. When that lender, and I'm no lender, but when that lender hears the word all-frame modular, that's going to check so many boxes in their head that solidifies what code it's built to, what's going on with the foundation. So the fact that these are all true all-frame modulars really gets you past any weird financing troubles someone may have with, say, a mobile or manufactured home. Carolina Custom Homes always prefers a true construction loan, okay? It is safer for us, your builder. It's safer for you as the buyer, because you're gonna lock in that interest rate and close on that loan before we build your house. So we're done. As soon as that house is done, you get to move in. Now, on the flip side of that, one option that Carolina Custom Homes offers that not many builders do, okay? We offer the option to basically not use a construction loan, use a more conventional loan where you don't close on the loan until we've already built your house. Carolina Custom Homes is the bank. We are upfronting all the money for the build because, again, this is not a construction loan. We have not closed yet. So Carolina Custom Homes upfronts all the money. We build that house for you, and then you close at the very end instead of upfront like that construction loan. When Carolina Custom Homes does that type of transaction and basically, fronts all the money for the build, we do assess a tax. It is a 2.25% construction management fee is what we call it. It is essentially a tax because we are upfronting all the money. We're taking all the risk. So we don't have any in-house financing per se. We don't write loans here or draw up loans, but we do have the aspect of, hey, Carolina Custom Homes can act as our bank during the build. We will have that tax. And then on top of that, Carolina Custom Homes also will literally buy land for customers. So theoretically, you can go find land in Guilford County, Rockingham County, wherever. Carolina Custom Homes will quite literally go buy that land for you, bundle it with the price of the home. You take that one number to the bank. So again, we're not giving out loans, but we can help you in the purchase of land as well as the loan option I kind of spoke on. If you are looking for land, obviously you have the cost of the actual land itself, but beyond that, you've got things. Let's talk about well and septic. So water and sewer. Most of these county houses that are out in the country are going to be serviced by a well and a septic tank. A well and a septic tank are going to run roughly $20,000 for the two of those items combined. That is me putting in a brand new well and us putting in a brand new septic tank, okay? Now, if you have city utilities, that completely changes because now all we've got to worry about is, number one, tapping into that water and sewer, and then number two, running the lines from that tap to the house. So, on an average, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Let's just say you buy a city lot and the tap needs to be purchased and we need to trench it to the house. You may only have $4,000 or $5,000 in connecting the city water and sewer compared to $20,000 with well and septic. Okay, now we have to talk about clearing and putting in a driveway. Clearing is there's a lot that goes with that. How big are the trees? How thick are they? How many are, how much you want to clear? A big question that people don't really consider that I'm going to ask you is, what am I doing with the debris, the stuff I cut down? If we can leave the debris there, push it into a corner. Oh, you live way out in the country and you got 20 acres, cool, we can push it over there. That's going to be light years cheaper than us having to pay to haul that debris off. So you got a city lot and there, you're not going to have room to leave all that stuff there. We're going to have to take it away. That increases the cost of that greatly. Just rough numbers, if you don't need to haul off the clearing, you might think $5-6 grand, something in there. If I need to haul it away, you might be thinking 10 grand. And I'll give you rough ideas once I know how much you're actually looking to clear and stuff like that. And then driveway. Driveway is another, how long is it? What type of material are you looking for? Does it need culverts or pipes put in? But I would say best case scenario, $3,500, $4,500 to put a driveway in. Worst case scenario might be $10,000, just depending on the distance and the lot itself. But so in total, if you need a well, septic, clearing, and driveway, you probably need to be thinking $30,000, give or take. Probably more so, $30,000 might be really best case scenario for all four of those items combined. Okay. The fact that they are all frame modulars, true modulars, sitting on masonry foundations and built to your NC residential code and all that, it's going to appraise and resell and value just like anything else. So, you know, if you had a modular and you sold it during COVID, I'm sure you profited $100,000, you know, just like any other build at that time. So they do appraise with stick-built homes. That's the important part. If the bank is saying it's worth it, then it is worth it. Not because I think it, because the bank tells you it is worth that kind of money. So we never have appraisal issues. When you go to resell it, it's going to increase in value. And just like anything else, modular home prices have increased over the years, but it's just like the existing market too. The value you're gaining year to year is outpacing the increase in price. So, you know, some people throw out, this kind of changing the subject, that waiting is a good solution. Well, you're really losing value and equity the longer you do wait, and the prices are going to continue to go up. It all ties into the fact that they're true modular homes on masonry foundations, and they're built to that NC residential code. They're going to appraise and resell and grow in value. Yes, I mean, it's really not going to be any different than selling a traditional stick-built home. The loan process is going to be the same for the buyer if they are financing. I've kind of hit on it a few times already, but the fact that it's the all-frame modular is going to allow that buyer to explore different avenues of lending to open up more resources for them to be able to afford that home. Yeah, it's just like everything else. You know, when you go to resell a modular home, if it's not priced right, it's going to sit just like anything else. But you know, I don't think you shouldn't be nervous to resell it or anything because it's a modular. That would be the total opposite. It would have grown in value over time. You're going to be selling it, making money, growing, you know, cashing in on that investment. And like I said, the fact that it's that true all-frame modular, it's going to be looked at, appraised at, treated the same in the banking world as a stick-built home. So that process is going to look very, very, very similar. The most common upgrades that I see, or the highest demand of upgrades that I see, are number one, the 9-foot ceilings. It seems like 8 out of 10 people really like the idea of having those taller ceilings, okay? That is always gonna be an option or an upgrade to add to any plan. So that's always a good feature to add for resale. Countertops are another really big talking point as we design your home. Obviously, granite and quartz is going to hold up better over time. 20 years from now, it's going to look the same and it holds its value. And that, you know, granite quartz, that is always an option in any plan as well. But it is, I would call it an upgrade. Where we start you is laminate formica with the countertops. Just remember that. But there are features that are standard within our included build that add value. Whether it be the soft close, full extension, dovetail construction cabinets, which are always included. All of our casings, base moldings, crown moldings are real pine. We wire and brace every room for a ceiling fan standard. We double up any 2x10 under your islands and big showers. So just little things like that. We don't just use 12-gauge wiring in the kitchen and bathrooms. We do it throughout. So there are a lot of little things that add value that are standard, and then there are also optional finishes like the taller ceilings, the granite countertops, maybe running the flooring in the bedrooms. A lot of people are like to get away from the carpet, so running the flooring in the bedrooms is definitely one of your higher demanded upgrades. But all those things just kind of make it, kind of the home you were dreaming of, and in return, you're going to get your money out of those investments as well. do not let your imagination hold you back. We can do it, we can offer it. There's nothing holding us back from offering a certain finish or material or floor plan option. So although I want you to start by looking at the plans on our site, and maybe you find one you love, and maybe you want it to look just like one we've built in the past. But at the end of the day, we are builders, okay? So we don't want to make you feel like you're restricted on options and looks. I'll put it to you this way: the modular homes we sell and build are the most customizable modulars you will find, from outside to inside. So I guess the worst thing you can do is to think to yourself, this is how it has to be. This is how it normally is. This is what all these other builders are telling me I have to do. Okay, so with me, like I said, imagination and budget is the only things that are holding us back from doing anything you want to do. So that would be my biggest advice. When people are on the internet and when you're looking on our website, most buyers think that the rendering on our website is the way that house has to look. That is completely wrong. 9 times out of 10, the front elevation or front porch is designed by you. So it could be a different style, a different look, different material for the posts, the pickets, a totally different style porch, like I said. So the worst thing you can do is get on the internet, on our website, and rule out certain plans just because you don't think the front porch is pretty or the front elevation is pretty. But on the flip side of that, if you find an elevation you like, I get calls every day on the same floor plans, and I say, is it because of the floor plan or because of the picture? They say it's because of the picture. That's exactly what I mean. You can take that picture, that elevation, and apply that to numerous other plans. So the worst thing you can do is think, that's how that house has to look. I don't like it. I'm taking it off my radar. Generally speaking, that is completely wrong. You're going to be able to take an elevation or a look from another plan, slap it on that floor plan, and now we have something that's completely different from the outside looking in. Okay? So don't let those renderings on our website throw you off. Some you're going to love, some you're not going to love. Same thing on my YouTube channel. Some you're going to think are just the most beautiful thing ever. Some you may not love as much. As long as you know that's part of the customization process, that's what I need you to know. So that's one of the bigger mistakes people make as they shop online or in person as well. So, I mean, it seems like every day that I open my email, we are coming out with some new feature or finish that is just adding value to our homes, okay? So let's talk about some of the finishes or options that we now have in place. So coming up in 2025, we're going to be seeing more bootlegger pantries where it looks like cabinets, but you open it and it's actually a real walk-in pantry that is hidden by cabinet doors. We have pet showers coming up. That's going to be featured in our new lot model. It's really nice. It's got a feeding station below, a wand up here. It's nice, maybe upper chest height, so it's nice and user-friendly. We've got organizational shelving over all washer and dryers now as one of our included finishes. Shoe organizational systems now included in all of our master closets. So we're just coming out with new and improved things like the double atrium door. We've now got an option to do a triple atrium door, so it's essentially 3 mega-sized windows and it looks like a big fancy door. So we've got new cabinet colors coming out. We've got a new natural cabinet color that I've featured on a few of my YouTube videos, kind of getting away from some of the grays and going back to some natural wood colors, but we still have all the grays that you can dream of. Our form of hardy plank siding options for siding, which we will also feature our new lot model that will be set up here soon. So there's just continuous improvements on what we're including, how we're packaging it, how we're building it. We're consistently improving the production of the factory itself and improving the way they operate there as well. So it just all ties into these homes are getting to be nicer and better improving day by day. And I'm not afraid to say it that our standard build, as far as finishes go, really outdo a lot of these site builders consistently on what they're doing as their standard build, standard finishes. I can show you 10 or 15 things they're not doing that we are doing. So keep that in mind as you shop, and thank you guys.